We're going to do something a little different today. Instead of live video, I thought we'd go back through the file folders and find some pictures of vehicles that I've worked on in the past. Most of these are just before and after shots, but I picked out two, a Rockaway and a Portland Cutter, that I thought I would show you a little more in-depth process of the process that was involved. Now, I didn't have as good a camera back then, so a couple of these or several of these photographs aren't really of the best quality, and a couple of them are kind of even out of focus. But if you're willing to tolerate that, let's go back through time and see some of the stuff that I've done in the past. Appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for watching. Now this is the Rockaway that I was referring to. Now somebody else actually did all the rebuild and woodwork on it, and they just brought it in for supposedly a little paint and upholstery. So I began to disassemble it. The undercarriage was going to be a different color than the body, so I put the undercarriage in the paint room to start to prime it. But there was a lot of grease residue on the axles I had to clean up before I could get into the process. And then I noticed as I was priming and moving it around that I saw some rust dust coming out from between the springs. And lo and behold, whoever had fixed this before hadn't gone through the trouble to clean all the rust. So I had to disassemble all the springs, sandblast them, put them all back together, and then I could finally do the finish priming on it. The wheels had also been done by some Amish folks, and they did a good job. They're a nice offset Warner style hub, nice carriage wheels, but the nut didn't fit inside the hub where it goes to the boxing, so I had to bore it out on the hub boring machine. But eventually we got her to where the hub nuts would fit. So then I took the body into the paint room and I put on the first coat of primer. Now one thing I like to do as I disassemble and prime everything is to let things set. I like them actually to go through some cold and some hot and see how this wood is going to work. And on these I noticed that there were some cracks that started to show up through the fluctuation in temperature. The one on the right side I could fish plate inside and stabilize. But the one on the left side was a pretty severe crack, and I couldn't get it to stop moving, even though I tried several times. So I went ahead and removed that panel and put on a new panel. You've seen me do this style of bending before, but it was enough that I could get the panel replaced. So finally, after the final cleanup and these few repairs done, I was able to get the finished priming, and eventually I got it painted, and we put in all new upholstery. And this is the Portland Cutter that I had come in several years ago, and it had a little fold-down jump seat in it. A really nice, cute little Portland Cutter. And the nice thing about this one is it had some pretty ornate little striping and designs on it. These weren't original, but they looked kind of classy. And the owner was really concerned about preserving the flavor and style of it. On the back of the seat and also on the rain rail and on the dash itself, there were remnants where you could see that this same flowery pattern had been painted. So I copied it so I could put it on down the road. Now this sleigh had been worked on and repaired in the past, and this little front flat strap was not original, and a lot of this stripe pattern is not original to the era of these vehicles. So I took it all with a grain of salt, but the general overall flavor I wanted to preserve. So I began the process of disassembling. I took the body off of the runners, and when examining the runners and cleaning them up, I found a couple places on the left runner that had been starting to break. And so I took that left runner off and replaced it, but I didn't do the whole runner. And sometimes that's what we'll do. We can repair and replace the broken and still leave part of the original. I went through the process of stripping off the old paint, and when you do that, you end up finding what the original stripe pattern was. And this also begins to show up the different cracks and places that are in need of repair, such as this one in the front. Underneath this flat strap, instead of fixing the wood, it was just a patch. So I took off the lower panels on both sides, which revealed some more problems with the main frame structure inside that, which we also needed to fix. But once we have the structure of the sleigh repaired, then we can go ahead and start to replace the panels. Now these panels are put on and they have a compound bend to them. They're really not the easiest panels to replace. They have a twist from front to back, and they also bow from front to back. But these I was able to put into the steamer to soften them up and get them pulled into place to repair the sleigh. And there was evidence of past repairs that had been done, but eventually we got it solid, could put it into the paint room, and begin the priming and painting process. And eventually we got her done. Now this sleigh is actually for sale by the present owner. So if anyone's interested, I know this is time sensitive at the time of this posting, but give me an email. She'd like to sell it. So I appreciate you watching, going through this archive photos of the past. I know it's a little different than the live video, but hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.